I don't want to be in my 5-year-old's life now that I've learned that he isn't mine, but when I told my wife I wanted a divorce she lashed out at me, so I exposed her to our whole family, and now they're trying to gaslight me into staying with her. So 2 weeks ago I found out that my 5-year-old isn't biologically mine. I felt so hurt and betrayed that my wife of 6 years, together for 9, cheated on me and even got pregnant by another man. I took a paternity test without telling my wife. I immediately confronted my wife and called her a hoe in my anger and many other names. She started crying and explained that she hid it because she didn't want to break our happy family of 3. I asked her why did she cheat on me. She explained we had a very nasty argument back in the day, so she hooked up with someone and it was just one time fling and has been loyal to me. She said she had doubts that I wouldn't be the father, but she never took paternity. She said she was happy seeing me happy and didn't go with abortion for peace of our family and didn't tell me the truth. I told her I am divorcing and I don't want to be in our son's life. She started crying and begging me to not break the family, and I am still his father and I have been a wonderful father and a husband. I should forgive her and don't let DNA destroy our lives, and started begging me. I immediately left and she was blowing up my phone. I decided at first not to tell anyone else, but in the end I got very angry and decided to tell everyone. Everyone is pissed at my wife. Her parents said they want nothing to do with their daughter and cut contact. My sister furiously called my soon-to-be ex and cursed her out. Her brother and sister on the other hand said I have humiliated my soon-to-be ex and shouldn't have told everyone and should have kept in between us. Yesterday her sister called me and said I need to take her back and come back for my son. I said I don't have a son. She got angry and started cursing me and said I am a weak, pathetic man. No wonder my wife cheated on me, and I am so pathetic I had to go behind my wife's back to take paternity cause I am insecure and weak, that I am giving up on my son just because we don't share blood, and I am the reason my wife is alone and depressed. I cut her call. Instead I called her husband and told him everything. I said that family is full of nut jobs. Maybe it runs in their blood. You should take paternity tests as well and don't trust those batches. He said he's sorry on his wife's behalf and we ended the call. Now I am ignoring all my wife's and that batch's calls. Update 1. I was absolutely shocked to see 10k comments on my post in DMs when I checked my post again yesterday. I am thankful for everyone. I couldn't go through all the comments, but I took my time to read many, and those who were asking if I'm okay. I'm not, but I will live. Also, why are some people calling me misogynist and I deserve to get cheated on? If your husband comes to you and claims to have a child outside of your marriage, would you not cruise at him? It's not about gender at all. I decided to do paternity because my sister asked me to. She asked me multiple times, but I brushed it off. I never ever thought of my wife to cheat on me, let alone getting pregnant by another man. My sister is my best friend and has always looked out for me. She said I should paternity because my son doesn't look like me at all. I said he looks like his mom, but she forced me and I am glad she did. She was so heartbroken seeing me cry on her and angry at my wife. I must have hugged her for hours and cried because I truly loved my son, but he reminded me of my wife's cheating and made my pain worse. Anyway, after reading comments about how my son is a victim just like me and all this, and I decided to not cut him off completely right away cause it might mentally scar him. I called my wife and she picked my call right away. I said I am coming over to meet my son. She cried and said she's glad I am coming over. I asked her if the bitch is still with her. She said she is. I asked her to tell her to not talk to me, otherwise I'll punch her filthy mouth. She said bitch will not interact with me. When my son saw me he was very happy. He instantly hugged me. He asked me where I was for so long. I picked him up and said I was working. I played with him for an hour and gently explained to him that I will be away frequently but will visit you and be in contact. He didn't like the news, so to cheer him up I said I will prepare a very good surprise for his birthday. Not sure what I'm going to do, but I'll figure it out. It's in December, so I'll figure something out. Anyway, after he went outside to play, I talked to my wife. My wife instantly latched onto me and hugged me and started crying. She asked me to come back to her and not to give up on our son and on her over a mistake. She wanted to abort, but she didn't because I was happy and she's been loyal to me since then. I got even more angry and I grabbed her arm, yelled at her that she destroyed me and our son. When he finds out the truth he won't love you as much as he loves you now. I came in you every single night. Where did it all go? But a random man comes in you once and you got pregnant? We both know I am not infertile. I told her I wanted to tell every single person we know the truth. Your friends, your friend's friend, the whole neighborhood, and every single one of her family members, even if they live in fucking China, even to those you haven't talked to in years, and every single one of your future partners. She started crying and shaking. I told her I won't. I wanted to exact my vengeance upon her, but if I do this it will hurt the innocent child and ruin him. I said do not misunderstand, I'm doing it for him, not for you. She said I am the love of her life and she can't live without me, and she will wait until I calm down and she will fight for me. She will not let her family break just because of a mistake she made, and she will give me as many kids as I want, and she herself will do paternity. And she started kissing me in my face desperately. I pushed her and said you are delusional, you acting as if you have ruined my car or something. I would have forgiven you for anything else, but this is a betrayal to your husband and your own child. I yelled at that filthy bitch of a sister to get her professional help. She's going crazy. Before she could say anything I left cause I want her to be as mad as she can possibly get. After I came back I sent a text to my wife that I will be visiting her for my son frequently, but I am only thinking about him and nothing else, and don't make it all worse than it already is. Think about him and be a good mother. I am now living with my sister and she has given me full support and hugs me until I calm down, even if it takes me hours. I will start divorce proceedings and I am his father, so it's unlikely I will escape child support, and even if I do I have a moral obligation to be in his life and screw the batch. Both sisters are a butt, maybe it runs in their blood. Update 2. It's been a month since I found out that my son isn't mine. I sought therapy. I love my son even though he isn't mine biologically, but I love him. I always did and always will. In my anger I called names to my wife which I didn't want to, but she betrayed me in my sill. She definitely deserved it cause she called me weak and treated me like crap after I found out the truth. I realized that it's better if I just make peace with everyone after a lot of sessions, and be in my kid's life. I don't know why I'm getting angry messages about how I went too far and my situation is fake and I should forgive my wife. Well, I agree I was angry cause it's a betrayal worse than just cheating. In any case, I am posting once again because I truly tried my best. I discussed this with my sil. Thankfully she wasn't hostile. We apologized to each other and we still don't like each other, but it's okay. I visit my home every few days. My sil and my wife and my son live in my house. I am tolerating all this because of my child and I just want a clean divorce from my wife and want to be in my child's life because I am the only father he has no. Though young I don't know how to tell him the truth. Every time I visited my home to spend time with my son, my wife would always hug me. I stopped pushing her away because it never worked. I just let her hug me and let her vent. She keeps venting about how sorry she is and wants me back, but I always told her that I am here for my son. She cries but doesn't say much in front of our son, thankfully. But 3 days ago when I visited my son to spend time with him, I absolutely adore him. He always gets excited whenever I come back to meet him. I told my wife that I have hired a lawyer, in my son's absence of course. My wife freaked out and said I shouldn't split our family apart. She said my son might not have my DNA but he's my son and she's my wife and we can make it work and live happily and she'll give me as many children as I want. I left after she vented. I am still angry at my wife and my sil, but I am in control of my anger. Her family kept calling me and telling me that I should give my wife another chance and I should be a good husband and she will be a good wife to me. But when I refused they said there's a chance I won't be able to see my son, which got me scared. I love my son, even though he isn't mine, and he loves me as I am his father, but what if I am not allowed to see him? What if they flip the situation? That's what I am worried about. It's not about me but the child's mental health and I fear that they are weaponizing it and I don't want that. Am I a jerk to myself if I stay with my wife for my son and help him? Update 3. It's been a rough couple of months. I wanted to just run away from all this, even abandon my son even though he isn't mine, but I didn't want him to suffer so I tried. Since then I visited him a lot. I moved out but I kept visiting him, but my wife would try her best to make me stay and her butt of a sister is no joke, but I tolerated it all for my son. But this Christmas after I celebrated with my son, my wife, her sister and her family sat me down to talk. They wanted me to reconcile and not to give up on my family. My wife said she made a mistake years ago and there's nothing she can do to change it and she wants to stay with me. I told her that it isn't possible, I am doing all this for him, not for you or any of you. But they all said that we have been living peacefully and I have a loving family. I love my son even though he isn't mine and I should not break the family, instead take my time and forgive my wife and live like we were living before. Past is past and I should forgive her because she's been faithful to me ever since then and she will give me my own child. After all that they said, I decided that there's nothing else I can do. I told them all that what wife did is betrayal, not just cheating but making me raise another man's son. I tried my best to not complicate and thought and did everything for my son. I told them that I am leaving and filing for divorce and giving up on my son and I left. They tried to stop me and still sends me texts and calls me but I ignore. I've decided to file, talk to a lawyer. My stance is that either I get full custody of him or I give up on him. I am not really concerned about child support, but it's kinda painful for me. I tried my best to give my son a better life even though he isn't mine and wanted him to have both parents in his life, but she is making it difficult. If he ever needs my help or wants to reconnect with me I will help him. I already know that most likely the custody is going to his mother.